So this isn't about me, it's about you, and a world that's upside down. One where we print money and the stock market goes up, or people commit incredible frauds and they don't go to jail. It's one where people are incredibly obedient, except for two recently that weren't, and they paid the price for informing us about the state of affairs in our national security environment. Now, one of the problems that we have is that we are too obedient, and we understand the value of being disobedient now that several have. Obedience is one of the things that I hope that you'll learn to disregard tonight. It's about a world where journalism and the Fourth Amendment have really taken a big hit. It's a world that isn't getting better, but we can make it better. Recently, there were two companies that changed their security posture because our government, it had been learned that they scooped up all of the data that was not encrypted. And so our leadership is telling us now, as Vince Cerf has said, that privacy may be something that's an anomaly. And Tim Berners-Lee is offering that DRM should be incorporated in HTML5. And so how do we get through this? How do we find a path? We have to look back in history to the 1800s when we fought the Civil War, and a problem that occurred on the battlefield where we had a bullet that needed to be developed, and these military hackers developed a bullet that exploded because they needed to blow up ammunition carts. And if you could blow up the ammunition cart, that won the battle. And so what happened was people defended the ammunition carts, and it took a long time to reload your weapon. And so when there was a man that was standing, you shot him, or you shot his horse. And what became the disgusting thing that every general learned was that exploding ammunition were horrific, and that they should be banned. And this is exactly what happened. The first rule of land warfare was because of exploding bullets and pissed off generals. And there was a gentleman in Russia, this gentleman, Alexander. And what he did is he brought the countries in Europe together in St. Petersburg to declare that they were not going to use these in war. They weren't going to use exploding bullets. And this was the first time that we had a rule for war. And from those rules, the Geneva Conventions and other conventions from The Hague that have been very successful in creating peace and creating a space for citizens when they're in war. And today, cyber warfare exists, and we participate in it, and our governments participate in it. Just today, in the United Nations, there was an effort being made to create a human right for privacy. And our nation and the United Kingdom both altered the language to encourage a state where you can have unanimous surveillance of the entire world population. Today announced another Snowden release about how every cell phone in the entire world is tracked by the NSA. When we build an Internet of Things, and we are building it, every one of us is working at a company building the Internet of Things. It is the instrumentation of the human population. And what you need to do, what each of us needs to remember, is that privacy is a human right, and that when we go to work and we change our bosses' minds about privacy, our co-workers' minds, we make this a discussion. We write it in our code. Because if we don't, we're going to have a problem in the future in an Internet of Things that instruments the entire human population. But we can change that by making privacy a human right. Make it in our code. Make it a part of our job, because then we don't have to trust the government. If we can trust our companies to create privacy as a human right. Thanks.